For years, the galaxy watched Earth and believed humans were harmless. They laughed at Earth's old space stations, aging ships, and slow expansion beyond their solar system. The Galactic Council called them a young, noisy species with no real will. Power, and humans let them believe it. The truth, however, was buried deep beneath Earth's oceans where no alien I could see it started on a quiet night above Jupiter's orbit. A Kelver scout ship named Zircon picked up strange energy spikes coming from Earth. The Kelver were a paranoid species.
Air Captain Harak sent the data to the Galactic Council.
We have reason to believe humans are hiding something, he wrote. The council laughed again. Hiding what? Their slow internet. One ambassador joked, but Harak wasn't laughing. His sensors had picked up something massive, millions of power signatures hidden beneath Earth's oceans. It didn't make sense. Earth's surface scans showed nothing. Spaceports were minimal. Earth's fleet was weak, but the oceans. The oceans told a different story. Captain Harak made a bold decision. He flew Zarkon closer to Earth's orbit, dangerously close. Then he turned on deep penetration scans, the kind banned by the Council. Within seconds, alarms exploded on the Kelver ship. The computer screamed in warning. Massive energy surge, detected incoming lock. What? From Earth? Harak shouted. That can't be. But it was. In a split second, the ocean near the Pacific lit up like a sun. A massive ripple spread through the water and something broke through. It wasn't a missile. It wasn't a warning. It was a ship. A black, silent, angular warshipin, like anything ever seen before. It rose from the water slowly, without sound, glowing red from beneath. It looked like a floating mountain made of obsidian, and then another one rose, then another, and another, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, each one unique, each one terrifying. And the worst part? None of them were in any galactic records. Captain Harak's last transmission was one line, sent before his ship vanished from the stars. They weren't behind. They were hiding, and they were always ready. The Galactic Council held an emergency session. This time, no one laughed. Footage from Earth's oceans showed entire fleets rising from the waterships the size of cities. Submarines carrying aircraft. Automated drones, mechs that walked across the ocean floor like giants. Human scientists, pilots, and engineers stood in silence, ready for orders. No speeches, no threats. It's just silent preparation. The council panicked. If Earth was weak, how could they build all this? A Valari senator shouted. A Zarn diplomat replied, that's the point. They let us think they were weak. For hundreds of years, they tricked us all. Questions flooded the council floor. When did they build all this? Why did we not see it? Why didn't they use it before? But the most important question was the one no one wanted to say out loud. What are they going to do now? Meanwhile, deep under the Atlantic Ocean, in a hidden base called Trident Core, Admiral Rhea Voss stood before a massive screen. She had led Project Leviathan for nearly 40 years. Her face was calm, but her voice was cold. Activate Protocol Delta, she ordered. The galaxy has noticed us. It's time they understand what that means, the AI voice responded. Protocol. Delta confirmed, initiating surface reveal, preparing Armada 1. Within seconds, the waves parted. Across Earth's oceans, metal titans emerged. Hidden hangars opened. Long dormant systems powered up. Satellites realigned. ... Communication relays lit the skies with blue fire, and far above Earth, in a quiet sector, a Zarn trader ship recorded everything. The lone pilot, terrified, sent a message back to his people. They have an armada buried underwater. 1 million ships. Maybe more. Earth was never weak. They just waited. And now, they're waking up. The video spread like wildfire across the stars. Panic spread faster. For the first time in galactic history, the balance of power had shifted in a single night. Not with war, not with speeches, but with silence and a wall of steel rising from the deep. The Galactic Council called for peace talks. They sent diplomats, apologies, gifts, but Earth said nothing. Their ships just kept rising and watching and waiting. The message from Earth shook the Galactic Council. No one expected humans to respond so calmly, so confidently. When the message ended, the room fell into silence. Council leader Varric of the Threx Empire leaned forward, his claws tapping the table. Are they bluffing? He asked. General Koth of the Briven Dominion narrowed his eyes. No species speaks like that unless they know something we don't. We need to investigate immediately. A spy drone was launched toward Earth. It was invisible to most sensors, moving silently through space. Its mission was simple. Scan Earth. For weapons, military fleets, and signs of any secret force. When the drone entered Earth's orbit, it found nothing unusual in space. No large fleets. No hidden stations. No signs of massive military activity. But when the drone looked at the oceans, it paused. The oceans weren't just water. Below the waves, deep in trenches and valleys, were shadows, long metal shapes, patterns. Too perfect to be natural. As the drone zoomed in, its scanners started failing. Signals were scrambled, systems glitched. Then, the feed cut off. Back at the council chamber, the last image from the drone appeared on the screen. Hundreds of ship-like structures beneath the waves. Just before the image vanished, one of those shadows moved. "Play that again?" Barrick said sharply. They watched the short clip again and again. Something huge was under Earth's oceans, hidden from sight, protected by advanced technology, and possibly awake. "Can they really hide a fleet of that size underwater?" asked Counselor Dia, her voice shaking. "They can," Koth replied. "And if they've been building in secret for centuries, that fleet could be bigger than anything in the galaxy." Panic spread like fire. The Council decided to send a diplomatic ship to Earth. They hoped to calm the humans, learn the truth, and avoid war. The diplomatic vessel, Serenity Star, was the best the galaxy had. It was fast, beautiful, and armed just in case. Aboard were top diplomats from 10 different species. When the ship arrived in Earth's orbit, they were met by silence. No greeting, no threat, just silence. Then Earth answered. A single transmission was sent. "Welcome to Earth. We know why you're here. We'll show you the truth." A set of coordinates followed. The Serenity Star followed them to the Pacific Ocean. As they reached the location, satellites moved aside. Clouds parted. The water below began to churn. Then, oceans split open. A massive platform rose from the sea, wide enough to hold cities. It groaned and hissed as ancient metal met fresh air for the first time in centuries. The aliens on board watched with wide eyes. A hatch opened. Out flew a single human craft's leak, dark and glowing blue at the edges. I hovered silently in front of the alien ship. A voice spoke from the human craft. "You asked to see?" "So, look." The waters below glowed, and then, like monsters rising from a deep sleep, the hidden ships began to surface. They came in hundreds, then thousands. Massive warships, carriers, stealth cruisers, all rising from the deep. Some had designs never seen before. Triangle-shaped destroyers, sphere-shaped battleships, long silent submarines that floated upward and turned into airborne giants. The ocean itself seemed to boil as the million-ship armada awakened. Each ship had Earth's emblem on its side, a single blue planet, surrounded by stars, and underneath it, the words "silent but ready."
Us.
On the Serenity Star, silence fell again. "Had no idea," whispered Counselor Dia. "No one did," replied Koth. "They weren't bluffing. This changes everything." The human voice returned. "For years we watched you. We saw how you treated other species. Called us young, weak, not ready. You were wrong. We chose silence, not because we were afraid, but because we were building now. You must decide. Will you treat us as equals, our enemies?" The diplomatic crew didn't know what to say. Earth had just changed the balance of power in one move. Back at the council, arguments exploded. Some said humans were dangerous and should be attacked before they fully awakened. Others warned that war with such a massive force would doom them all. And some suggested peace. But Earth didn't wait the next day. A second message arrived. A live feed showed another part of Earth's ocean, this time near Antarctica. Another giant platform rose from beneath the ice, and with it came another fleet. This one larger than the first. It wasn't just a defense force. It was an empire, hidden underwater. One council member said it best. While we were watching the stars, they were watching us from the sea. Now, the question wasn't if Earth would fight, it was whether the galaxy would survive if they did. The entire Galactic Council chamber fell into silence. Ambassador Trex of the Dronery Republic stood frozen, staring at the massive display screen in the center of the hall. Even though he was an old species, used to hundreds of wars and political games, this was different. This was something no one expected, not even in their worst nightmares. A fleet. A human fleet. But not just a few ships, not a dozen, not even 1,000. Millions. Millions of warships. Rising from the oceans of Earth like a metal tsunami, it began just days ago. Zorak's empire, greedy for Earth's resources, had sent a message to humanity. Surrender your oceans or face invasion. They thought it would be easy. Humans had always appeared quiet in council meetings, always saying little, always observing. The aliens called them the Quiet Ones. Some even called them the Forgotten Species. But now, the Forgotten Ones had answered. The transmission had come from Earth's moon base, a human. Commander's voice, calm and steady, had replied in just 4 words. "We do not surrender." That was all. At first, the council had laughed. They called it arrogance. Trex remembered how the Falthery ambassador chuckled. "They have 10 fleets. We have 10,000. But then the sea moved. from deep beneath Earth's oceans hidden. For over a century came the truth. One by one, massive ship hulls broke the surface. Enormous dreadnoughts, stealth cruisers, pulse carriers, and planetary defense frigates, covered in layers of sea growth and designed with silent engines, they rose like giants returning from a long sleep. Every hour, more came. From every ocean, every deep trench, every forgotten bay, satellite feeds showed thousands becoming tens of thousands. By the second day, Earth's skies were crowded with steel and fire, and yet there were no attacks, no declarations, only silence. The Council tried to contact Earth's leadership. No response. Tension grew. Some alien species began to panic. Was this a declaration of war? Was Earth planning an attack? But then, a new signal arrived. Not from orbit, but from the bottom of Earth's Pacific Ocean. A transmission from Admiral Helena Cross, commander of Earth's hidden armada. Her face was calm. No anger, no threat. Only a statement you wanted. To see Earth's strength? Now you have. Let this be the last time you test our silence, the signal ended. And across the galaxy, every species realized the truth. Humanity had never been weak. It had been waiting. Trex sat alone in his chamber. Rewatching the footage, he couldn't believe it. For over 120 years, the humans had been hiding their true military force, not in space, but underwater. A perfect cover. Alien scanners rarely searched the seas. Everyone assumed space was the real battlefield. Everyone thought Earth's surface was all there was to see, but no one checked the deep. And that was humanity's plan. They built in secret. In darkness. In silence. And now, the galaxy understood why. Trex knew war was off the table. Yes. If the humans had wanted blood, they would have taken it. They had the power now, so why show their fleet? That question haunted him. What message were the humans really sending? Meanwhile, in the command center of the Atlantic Deep Military Base, Admiral Cross stood in silence. Around her, officers watched as alien broadcasts reacted with shock and fear. Status? She asked. Full visibility confirmed. All Council species have seen the fleet rise. Estimated 986,000 ships fully operational.
Any remaining units still?
Surfacing, her officer replied. Cross nodded. Hold position. Maintain silence. Another officer spoke. Ma'am, the Zorax fleets are retreating. They're pulling back to their home sectors. Good, that was the goal. Cross turned to two. The massive screen showing Earth's oceans, now dotted with the shadows of countless ships. The world below looked peaceful again. But the sky above now whispered a warning. A whisper that would echo through every system in the outer reaches of the galaxy. Where pirate fleets often raided defenseless worlds, even they went quiet, human. Traders who had been ignored or bullied were suddenly treated with respect. No one wanted to provoke a species that had secretly hidden 1 million warships, and said nothing. On the Council's private channels, meetings were held in secret. What else are the humans hiding? Asked one ambassador. Why didn't we detect them before? Asked another. But the biggest question remained. If this is their defense, what would their attack look like? No one had an answer. On Earth, the people watched too. Civilians in coastal cities stared at the ocean, seeing shadows rise and giant ships drift quietly across the sky. Some were afraid. Some were proud. But most simply whispered the same thought. We were never weak. Just never needed to prove it, until now. The human president gave no speech. The world leaders gave no press conference. Only one message appeared across all human channels. Peace is always our choice. But do not mistake our silence for fear. Back on the Galactic Council station, Trex looked at the map. Every red mark now showed a human ship position, 1 million stars. A warning written not in words, but in metal and will. And for the first time in over 500 years, the Council felt fear not of an enemy they knew, but of the one they had ignored. Silent ones had spoken, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The skies above Earth were calm. From orbit, the planet looked peaceful blue oceans, white clouds, and green continents spinning slowly under the sunlight. But inside the command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, alarms were flashing. General Harper stood silently as screens showed the movement of enemy ships. Dozens of alien fleets were closing in, spread across different directions like a massive net. They thought they had Earth surrounded. They really believed we're defenseless. Harper muttered. The room was full of officers from many countries, all working together. Earth was no longer divided by borders, not after what the stars had revealed. The Unity Treaty had brought humanity under one flag. Earth's defense was now everyone's job. Admiral Chi, the head of the Pacific Fleet, leaned forward. We let them scan our orbit, she said calmly. We let them see nothing. We let them think we were weak, Harper nodded. Now it's time to show them what's been hiding. She turned to the central table. With a wave of her hand, the hologram of Earth shifted, showing the ocean floor. Then, With a command, the real image appeared. It was not empty. Hidden under the waves were massive structures rows and rows of armored bays, disguised as deep-sea trenches. The aliens had scanned space. They had watched Earth's orbit. But no one had thought to scan the oceans. That was Earth's secret. Buried deep under miles of water, connected by tunnels and magnetic rails, was humanity's hidden treasure. The Titan Armada. Over 1 million warships, each with stealth plating, advanced railguns, fusion drive engines, sat silent and waiting. Some were as large as cities. Others were smaller, faster, designed for hit-and-run attacks. They had been built in silence, over 50 years of preparation. Begin the rise, Harper ordered. From the ocean floor, pressure began to shift. Water trembled. Earthquakes were recorded in coastal cities, but nothing broke the surface yet. The ocean bulged. Sea life scattered. Whales, sharks, and entire schools of fish rushed away as ancient sea trenches split open like wounds. Then came the silence. And then, the first ship rose. It was over 4 kilometers long, black as midnight, with glowing red markings that pulsed like a heartbeat. Its name was ISV Judgment. Behind it, dozens of others followed. The ocean boiled as heat from the fusion engines turned seawater into steam. Clouds formed from the sudden mist. Lightning cracked the skies across the world. People looked up. News stations went dark. Social media exploded. Billions of humans saw what had been hidden for decades. A girl in Kenya whispered, "We had ships like that?" A boy in Brazil stared in shock. "We were ready this whole time." An old man in Japan cried silently. He'd helped design the armor for those ships back when he was a young engineer. The galaxy, watching through probes and hidden eyes, was stunned. The Council of Species, sitting in their golden chambers on Delther Prime, received the footage. Silence followed. No one spoke. Even the war-hungry Valexians paused. The humans had lied brilliantly. They had hidden their true strength, not in the stars, but in their own oceans. The alien fleet surrounding Earth began to panic. Admiral Rashok, leading the attack force from the orbit of Mars, shouted into the communicator, "Pull back. Pull back." But it was too late. The Armada was rising. Thousands of ships broke the surface in perfect formation. Earth's oceans lit up like cities as ship after ship lifted off, climbing into the sky like a metal storm. The noise shook the ground. Thunder rolled for hours. Waves hit coasts, flooding cities. But humanity didn't stop, because Earth wasn't sending a warning. It was sending a message in space. The alien fleet started firing. Missiles, plasma bolts, kinetic weapons, everything they had. But Earth's Armada didn't slow down.
Right there.
Shields absorbed the damage. Their counterattack was brutal. Dozens of enemy ships exploded in the first volley. Then the Titan-class dreadnoughts arrived, built to fight entire fleets alone. These giants dwarfed everything. Each carried thousands of fighters, had its own defense AI, weapons that could tear moons apart. The enemy never stood a chance. One by one, their formations broke. Captain Sloan aboard the ISV Judgment gave the command. Execute Phase 2. Dozens of stealth ships jumped forward, bypassing enemy lines and striking at their command vessels. Ships disappeared from radar, only to reappear behind enemy. Captains unleashing precise and devastating attacks. The aliens panicked. Admiral Reshok's ship was the first to fall. A precision railgun slug tore through his bridge, cutting the command in half. The Council tried to call for peace. It was too late. They had come to. It's expecting a simple conquest, a weak planet. A frightened species. What they found was an ancient planet hiding a force of nature, and Earth was not done. The alien commander Thraxel stood in front of the galactic war map, shaking his head in disbelief. For cycles, the Alliance believed Earth was weak, primitive, peaceful, unarmed. Now hundreds of alien fleets had gone dark near the Sol system. No signals, no wreckage, just silence. And in space, silence was more terrifying than any scream. Reports were coming in, though none made sense. A Krindari scout ship saw a massive metallic wall rising from Earth's oceans before losing contact. Another patrol ship spotted hundreds of ships flying in strange, unpredictable formations, like swarms of angry wasps that moved too fast to track. And the strangest part? Those ships didn't match any known human designs. They were old, ancient, even yet more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen. On Earth, deep inside the Atlantic Ocean, the command center of the secret human fleet was fully awake now. "Status report," barked Admiral Alara Grant, standing in front of a massive holographic display. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with focus. "Fleet Alpha is airborne and cloaked. Fleet Beta is rising from the Mariana Trench. Yama is already in orbit around the moon," her second-in-command replied. And what about Project Ghost Storm? Ilara asked. It's active. Our stealth cruisers are already inside enemy territory. They've hacked into Alliance command systems. If they try to retaliate, their own ships might turn against them. Ilara gave a small nod. Perfect. In space, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. Dozens of species filled the vast chamber, each screen showing the panicked faces of military leaders, scientists, and rulers. The leader of the council, a tall silver-skinned being named Vexer, slammed his fist on the table. This is impossible, he roared. Earth had no such technology. We monitored them for centuries. But we underestimated them. Came a quiet voice from the back. Everyone turned. It was Envar, a former diplomat to Earth. His voice was calm, but his expression was serious. You all laughed when I warned you, he said. You mocked me when I said Earth hides its strength. Now look, entire fleet's gone. Systems lost. It's all without a declaration of war. Another voice panicked, asked, where did these ships even come from? Our sensors never detected shipyards. They didn't build them in space, Envar said. They built them underwater, at deep hidden cities below their oceans. They were preparing this for years, maybe centuries. The chamber went silent. Meanwhile, over Earth's orbit, the battle began. The first wave of Alliance ships appeared out of hyperspace, thinking they were launching a surprise attack. But Earth's hidden fleets were already waiting. Dozens of dark, angular ships, decloaked in perfect formation. Human warships unleashed EMP blasts, ion torpedoes, and strange weapons that shut down enemy engines before the Alliance even had time to react. One Krindari captain shouted in horror. No. Inside our systems, our targeting isn't working. And then came the second wave. Larger ships carriers, battle cruisers, dreadnoughts rose from Earth's oceans like sleeping monsters awakened. They broke through the water, steam rising as their engines roared. To life, some Alliance soldiers watching from space froze, watching as mile-long ships lifted from the sea glowing with energy. It looked like Earth itself was angry, and it was throwing its war machines into the sky. Earth's fleet moved as one mind, not in chaos, but in precision. Every maneuver was coordinated. Every attack had a purpose. Alien fleets were falling. Apart, their formations crumbled, their morale broke, and then the signal came. Across all Alliance channels, a human voice spoke clear, steady, and cold. This is Earth Fleet Command. We warned you to leave us in peace. You refused. You forced our hand. This is not war. This is judgment. The signal ended. Vexer, watching the feed from the council chamber, stood frozen. We started this, he whispered, and we have no way to stop it. Down below, Earth wasn't celebrating. They weren't cheering. They weren't taking joy in the destruction. They were calm, silent, focused, because this wasn't revenge. This was survival. The skies above Earth were filled with ships from all over the galaxy. Observation vessels, spy drones, military satellites. Everyone wanted to know the truth. Was the human ocean fleet real? Did Earth actually hide 1,000,000 warships beneath its seas? The Galactic Council had officially denied such a possibility. They called it myth, human propaganda, fear tactics. But something deep in the ocean had moved. Multiple seismic readings had confirmed it. The seas had shaken, not like an earthquake, but as if something massive had awakened and shifted beneath the ocean floor. Now the galaxy waited in orbit above Earth. Captain Verlek of the Zarkon Empire leaned forward in his command chair. His warship, the Scourge of Stars, was one of the largest in the galaxy. It had destroyed moons and crushed fleets. But even he felt a cold edge in his chest. Status? One of his crew? One of his officers turned, massive heat signatures, are rising from all Earth's oceans. The Atlantic, Pacific, Arctic, Indian, even the smaller inland seas. It's global. The captain narrowed his eyes. Submarines. The officer shook his head. No, sir. These readings. They're larger than submarines. Much larger. Thousands of them, maybe more. Down below, on Earth's surface, millions of people stood frozen, staring at the seas. The waters were no longer calm. Giant waves began to form, but there was no storm. The waves came from below. Suddenly it began. From the Pacific Ocean, a massive metal wall broke the surface. It rose higher, and higher like the side of a city rising from the water. As it emerged fully, gasps rang across the world. It wasn't a wall. It was a warship, bigger than anything ever seen, sleek, angular, dark metal. The surface shimmered with some kind of adaptive armor. Strange symbols glowed faintly across its hull. Didn't look like any Earth technology, but it was human, and it was just the first. More ships followed, one by one, then in dozens, then hundreds, from every ocean, from every direction. The seas broke apart to reveal launch platforms, secret docks, and underwater hangars that had been hidden for generations. Some ships looked ancient. Others looked like they had never been touched by time in orbit. Every alien fleet watching the event began broadcasting emergency alerts. "They're launching," said one panicked voice over comms. "They're launching everything, Captain." Vorlek stared at his screen. A blinking red warning appeared. Unidentified human vessels, 14,632 and rising. In a matter of minutes, the number crossed 50,000. Then, 100,000. And they were still rising. It wasn't a bluff. The stories were true. Earth had hidden 1,000,000 warships beneath its oceans. But how? How had humanity built such a force in silence? How had they kept it hidden from every satellite, every spy, every listening post across the galaxy? Back on Earth, in a command room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Alina Briggs watched it unfold with a cold, steady expression. "Phase 3 complete," said a voice behind her. She nodded. "Initiate Phase 4. Let the galaxy know." A signal was broadcast from Earth. It reached every major star system in under a minute. A simple message. No threats, no war declarations. Just this. "For too long, you watched our skies. You studied. Our people, you judged us as weak. You thought Earth had no teeth. Now you see what we built while you weren't looking. You plan to conquer us. Now you will remember us." In the council chambers on Varelia Prime, leaders of the major alien races sat in stunned silence. An ambassador whispered, "How did we miss this?" No one had an answer. The ships in Earth's sky were not just weapons. They were history. They were the result of centuries of secret work, hidden beneath the very oceans the galaxy had dismissed as harmless. And now, as those ships were rising, some began to move into orbit, joining Earth's already powerful space. Defense grid. Some jumped to hyperspace no-known destination. Others hovered silently, as if waiting for orders. Captain Vorlek stood. "Pull back," he said, his voice low. "Sir," asked his lieutenant. "I said pull back. Al will not be here when those ships decide to move." And they did pull back. So did many others. Dozens of ships from different empires started slow retreat maneuvers. The galaxy didn't want war anymore, not with Earth, not with what was hiding beneath the waves. Humanity had just changed everything, and the stars would never be the same again. The moment the first Earth warship rose from the ocean, the galaxy held its breath. But it wasn't just one. It wasn't a dozen. It was thousands. From the deepest trenches, from under the Arctic ice, from volcanic seabeds, and hidden underwater. Bunker ships emerged like sea monsters from old human legends. The night sky turned silver, with light reflecting off polished metal hulls. The ships rose in perfect formations like a choreographed dance, and they kept coming. Admiral Cora of the Varnaka Armada had seen many wars. She had destroyed worlds, broken fleets, and crushed rebellions. But this made her heart race with something she hadn't felt in centuries. Fear. How? How did they build this many? She whispered, her voice shaking as she stared at the holographic feed. On board the Varnak command ship Judgment Fang, the bridge was silent. Not even the engineers spoke. The crew, trained and battle-hardened, were now just staring. One of them, a young officer, finally broke the silence. They were hiding it. Beneath the oceans. 4 years. Admiral Cora clenched her fists. No. Not just hiding. Preparing. Back on Earth, Commander Saravale stood at the main control tower of the Pacific Command Hub. She watched the Armada rise with calm eyes. Her voice echoed across a dozen command centers worldwide. Operation Leviathan is a go. All oceanic fleets, initiate power sync. Armada Alpha, set coordinates for lunar edge. Beta Group, stay in high orbit. Gamma, prepare to intercept enemy forward scouts. The human fleet was not just big, it was terrifyingly organized. Each ship carried next-gen plasma shields, stealth modules, quantum jump drives, and railgun batteries that could punch through moons. And unlike the clunky designs of alien empires, human ships were built like wolf sleek, aggressive, and fast. But what truly stunned the galaxy wasn't the number or design, it was the silence. Humanity hadn't broadcast a single warning. No threat. No speech. They had waited, listened, watched, and then revealed the dagger hidden under their planet's waves. Across the stars, reactions spread like fire. The Kelveron Senate halted all operations and called for emergency talks. The Zen-3 swarms began pulling their ships back from Sol's border. Even the Zadrak, warmasters known for their brutal attacks, froze in place. One warmaster muttered, "We laughed when they called Earth the sleeping beast. We shouldn't have." In the far reaches of the galaxy, a secret group known as the Council of 12 met in panic. They had always feared this day. "They tricked us all," one of them said. "We thought Earth was vulnerable. It was a shell covering fire. And Steel, a second replied. And now, the fire is awake. Meanwhile, inside Earth's fleet, the AI Core Sentinel Prime processed hundreds of battle strategies per second. It adjusted shields, formations, and paths in real time. It was connected to every ship like a nervous system, giving Earth forces unmatched coordination, but still. Earth did not attack. They waited. Commander Vale stood with her hands behind her. Back, watching stars reflect off the rising ships, she finally spoke to the world. To all who believed Earth was weak, to all who thought we would beg, run, or surrender, you were wrong. Her voice was calm, but carried weight like thunder. We offered peace. We were patient. We warned you, and you laughed. Now you will see what patience becomes when pushed too far.
Ow.
Those words, broadcast across the system, became legend, suddenly. Long-range scanners lit up. Alien reinforcements were arriving near Jupiter. Over 3,000 ships from various empires rushing toward Earth space. They had heard of Earth's armada. They thought it was a bluff. Until they saw it. The million-ship fleet shimmered like a metal storm, stretching across Earth's orbit, forming layers of defense and offense. From the shadows of Saturn's rings, hidden alien scouts observed. Their data was clear. Earth was no longer a single planet defending itself. It had become a fortress, a superpower, a myth come true. Inside the Varnet command ship, Admiral Cora made a decision. Retreat, she said softly. The crew stared at her. We don't fight this. We talk or we vanish. But Admiral One Officer said, our mission, she cut him off. Our mission was based on false data. This isn't a weak species. This is a predator that waited for its prey to come close. Back on Earth, Commander Vale received dozens of transmission requests from alien leaders. Governments, military heads all, asking for talks. Some begged for peace. Others offered apologies. One tried to threaten her. She simply replied, come to Earth if you want peace. But if you raise a weapon, we will bury your fleets the same way we buried ours, quietly and deeply. The galaxy now realized something chilling. Humans had not just evolved as survivors, they had become something else entirely. Not conquerors, not victims, but planners. They hit 1 million ships, not to show power, but to wait for the day they would need them. And now, that day had come, and Earth was ready. The stars above flickered like old memories, cold, distant, and silent. But silence was a thing of the past. Above Earth, the skies were no longer empty. Thousands of warships hovered just beyond the atmosphere, forming a perfect ring of steel. Their designs were sleek, terrifying, and unfamiliar to most of the galaxy. What made them even more chilling was the symbol they all carried. No flag, no colors, just a black circle. It's the mark of Earth's deep fleet. Admiral Thorne stood on the bridge of the Horizon Breaker, the lead vessel. His voice was calm but strong. Status report. Galactic fleets are pulling back. The officer said the Zarkith command has gone dark. No signals, no retaliation. Good, Thorne said. We've seen enough. Across the galaxy, live transmissions had broadcast every moment of Earth's rise from the sea's opening to reveal the hidden ships. To the single command that had frozen entire fleets, it wasn't just power, it was control. The Galactic Council. Once arrogant and united, now fractured. Their strongest allies had either gone silent or started secret negotiations with Earth. But this wasn't about revenge. Not anymore. It was about warning back on Earth. Beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, the last few ships rose slowly to the surface. Water slid off their hulls like tears. These were not ancient ships. They were modern, stealth-designed, and waiting for a signal that never came. Until now, every nation had contributed. For decades, Earth had secretly worked together under one hidden project, Project Abyss. While politicians argued in public, their best minds worked underground, deep under the oceans, building the impossible. 1 million ships, silent, ready, and no one outside Earth had known. Not even their closest allies in the Galactic Trade Union, but they all knew now, at the edge of Earth's system. A lone alien vessel hovered silently. On board, Ambassador Krathel of the Yalari Confederation watched the final broadcast with shaking hands. His translator blinked once before speaking. This changes everything. Behind him, his assistant whispered, Sir, we still go forward with the embargo. Krathel laughed, a weak, nervous sound. Embargo. No, cancel everything. Send them tribute, immediately. Another part of the galaxy, the Zarkith homeworld, was under martial law. Their great fleet, once called the Iron Teeth, was now scattered, its command broken. General Exer, who had once mocked Earth, during the Council's debate, now sat in chains. His face was bruised, eyes hollow. He had demanded war. Earth had answered, and now, Even his own people called him the fool of the century. On Mars, a human colony cheered as they watched the fleet move in formation overhead. Children pointed at the sky as massive carriers passed like shadows across the red horizon. No longer was Mars, it's just a colony. It was now the second command base of the deep fleet. The message was clear. Earth wasn't just defending itself anymore. Earth was becoming something bigger, something the galaxy had never seen before. Not an empire, not a conqueror, but something worse for the greedy powers. A unifier, a force no one could break or manipulate. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council tried to hold emergency meetings, but trust had shattered. The Varani accused the Scareds of hiding information. The Scareds blamed the Grath. The Grath pointed fingers at everyone, and in every meeting room. One sentence kept echoing. How did Earth build all this under our noses? No one had an answer, because while the galaxy was watching flashy battles, rich trade routes, and royal dramas, Earth had worked in silence, in darkness. Beneath the waves, Admiral Thorne turned to his communications officer. Open channel. All frequencies. Send message to every system. The officer nodded. Message. Ready, sir? Thorne stepped forward. This is Admiral. It's Thorne of Earth's deep fleet. Let it be known across the stars. Humanity does not seek war, but we will never again kneel. The oceans of our planet kept our strength hidden not because we were afraid, but because we were preparing. He paused. You attacked our ships. You tried to corner us, control us, silence us. But Earth does not forget, and Earth does not forgive. He stepped back. End transmission. Across the galaxy, millions watched the message, some in fear, others in awe, but no one ignored it. On Earth, crowds gathered at beaches across the globe. From Tokyo to New York, from Cape Town to Rio, people watched as the last ships surfaced and hovered into the sky, their engines humming like thunder. The world that once felt weak, divided, and alone was now the most feared power in the galaxy, and it had risen not with a scream, but with silence, steel, and storm buried beneath. The waves Earth had hidden a storm. Now the stars would never sleep easy again.